Hi guys, Anita here, and welcome to my first ever cooking video on YouTube. Today I would like to share with you my recipe for okra soup, which is one of my family's favorite soup. So here are the ingredients that we're gonna need to make this soup. I have here chicken. The chicken I'm using is hen. It's a kind of hard chicken so that it doesn't break in the sauce. That's the only kind of chicken I use to make my sauce. Here I have cow feet and cow tripe. This I cook it in advance because it takes time. I do mine in the pressure cooker, which takes about 30 minutes. But if you don't have a pressure cooker, you can go ahead and cook it on the stove, which will probably take around 1 to 1 hour and a half, depending on the texture that you're going for. But again, you don't want to cook it too soft because once you put it in the sauce, it's gonna break it apart. So cook it to a certain tenderness, and you know it should be good to go. Here I have some goat meat, I have some beef, one smoked fish, and I have some spinach, okra that I already cut up. I'm using spinach here because you need some leaves to add it to your okra. You could just do okra alone, which is how we cook it in my country in Ivory Coast, but I wanted to add some spinach to get more vegetable. And here also I have blended okra. You can add this blended okra if you don't want to use bicarbonate of sodium or making baking soda. If you don't want to use baking soda, you can do it this way. That way it will create some draw. But if you are going to use baking soda, by no means avoid blending some of the okra. Here I have palm oil, which you definitely need for this soup. In this bowl I have some dried shrimp and dried fish. We have onion, tomato, habanero pepper, and some anise seed. All of this I'm gonna blend it up in my blender and pre-cook the meat with. I have salt. For those of you who don't eat salt, you can avoid salt. And I have here some tomato bouillon just for flavoring. And I have here 2 Maggi cube. In this jar here I have it's garlic and ginger. This is homemade. I blended this myself and I use it to preheat my my meat every time I cook. It gives it a good flavor. So yeah, let's get into it. So guys, here I have my pot on the stove, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my chicken to it because it's hard. I needed to cook it for a little longer. We have the chicken, and also I'm gonna add the goat meat. And then my beef. Now remember the blended garlic and ginger. I'm gonna add about this much because I have quite good amount of meat in here. I'm gonna go ahead and add my salt, about this much. You can always taste later and see if you need to add more salt or not. And make sure if you're gonna use the bouillon, make sure you add it in the beginning so the seasoning gets in the meat. So I'm gonna use this size. We're going to mix it. And let this go for about 20 to 25 minutes to soften the meat a little bit. So we'll come back in 20 to 25 minutes to check on it. So guys, it's been about 20 to 25 minutes and we have to check on this. Make sure in between you check and make sure that this meat is not stick on the bottom. And now we are going to go ahead and add the blended onion. I'm gonna add some water here because you don't want to lose anything. So we are going to blend this and put it in. At this point, I am going to add cow feet. And tripe, so that everything, you know, get the same flavor. And give this a stir. I'll add a little bit more water. Add my fish, which I'm gonna take out of this later. I just want the flavor of the fish to, you know, blend with the meat and everything. But if I leave this in here too long, it's gonna break apart because the fish is gonna soft. So I will leave this in here for about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm gonna take it off. We're going to cover and let's simmer for 15 more minutes. So we'll come back. So guys, it's been about 10 minutes, and I told you before that the fish was going to be in here for about 5 to 10 minutes. And so now we are going to remove the fish. Oh my god, if you guys were in this kitchen right now, the smell is just heavenly. And I know it tastes good too, because that's what I love to do. So I'm removing the fish, and remember I told you that I cooked my cow feet and cow tripe beforehand. So here's the juice from it. We're not gonna discard this because this is packed with flavor. We're just gonna use it and cook the sauce, so we, you know, get all the flavors in the sauce. So I'm just gonna pour it here. And one thing I want to mention, that's how I was taught to cook. When you cook a sauce, you just want to add the water 3 times. The 3rd time, it's gonna be your last water to, you know, finish cooking the soup. So this is actually the 2nd time that I'm adding water. With okra soup, it's a little different. You don't need too much water. You kind of have to watch it. So I just added this one, and I'm gonna go ahead at this point and add my blended shrimp and fish. So here we go. And then we're gonna give it a stir. I want to add a little more water just to cover the meat. That is good enough. We are going to cover this and cook it, I want to say, for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until the water, you know, is halfway down the pot, because you don't want the water to be too much when you're adding your okra. Otherwise, your okra soup is not gonna be as thick as you want. It's gonna be watery, and we don't want that. We will see when you get to that point, but we will go ahead and cover this and let it simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, all right. Hey, it's been over maybe 30 minutes. Remember I told you you have to cook it until the water is halfway down the pot, and so this is the level that I'm going for. And here it seems, I feel like I'm gonna take out the tripe before I add the okra, because it seems like it's a little soft. I don't want it to be too soft because I would like to have texture in my meat. So I'm taking the tripe out of the sauce. If you like yours soft, you can just leave it in and go ahead and add the okra. I'm not gonna worry about the chicken and the meat because that's not gonna break in the sauce. So you want to feel your beef cow feet and see if it's soft enough. This is good. to my liking. Make sure you taste your sauce at this point also for salt, and you know, see if the seasoning is good for you. It's good. Now I am adding my okra. You know, in Africa we do it differently, but you know, we are in America, we need to save time. Otherwise, back home you have to cook the okra separately with the palm oil and beat it up, and it's a lot of work. And the blended okra. Remember how I told you that when you add the blended okra, you don't have to add baking soda because this will create a draw. Well, for me, I like to my okra soup to have a lot of draw. So there is this here, it's called potash. This you can only find it in African store. It acts the same way as the baking soda. So if you don't have this, don't feel like you have to go get it. Just use, you know, a dash of baking soda. You don't want too much baking soda. It's gonna make your sauce the draw too much. You won't even be able to serve the sauce. So I'm gonna add this much to it. Now this one I'm using the wooden spoon and just, you know, mix it. At this point we're going to add our palm oil. And just keep stirring. Oh, this color is just beautiful. We are going to cook this for probably 10 to 15 minutes, or until the you know, the chopped okra is soft enough. And then we're going to add the spinach, because once you add the spinach, you don't want to cook it too long. You don't want your spinach to, you know, just vanish in the sauce. So we're gonna cook this a little bit and then add the spinach. And also at this point you don't have to cover the soup. Just let it open, and then make sure you just keep stirring it so that the okra doesn't stick on the bottom. Make sure you keep stirring this until you know, maybe 5-10 minutes before you add the spinach. So this has been going on for a little while, and I felt the okra, and it's time now to add the spinach, which I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna add the whole thing. It's too much, so I'm adding a handful. Make sure you stir it. Be careful stirring this. You don't want spinach flying all over your stove. Add a little more. And that should be good. At this point, I'll go ahead and add back my tripe to the sauce. Add my seasoning cubes. You don't have to add both cubes. Just taste the sauce and see the level of salt. If you feel like you need to add both, go ahead. Now you can only add one or 1.5. And I buy these cubes from the African store. You cannot find this in Western grocery stores. The one they have there is different. This is crayfish, and this is called jumbo. So this is a little saltier than the crayfish one, but in any case you can only find these ones in African grocery stores. So I'm gonna add about half of this one. This is part of cooking. Okay, and keep stirring. Taste for salt. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, just a little bit, this much. And also I feel like my soup is too thick, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of water, just a little bit, not too much. Now this much. And this is gonna help finish the cooking. I'll add my fish back in. You don't want to stir too heavily, otherwise you're gonna break up the fish. Just go in gently and do it like I do. And so we're going to cover halfway and let this simmer for 5-10 minutes and it should be good. Okay guys, so I think this soup sauce is finally ready. Here it is. This is the consistency of it. It looks good, it tastes good, it smells good. And so this sauce goes well with rice, fufu, which in Ivory Coast we call plakali. I'm about to cook plakali, so if you are interested in seeing how to cook that, you know, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you will know when I post that video next. But by no means, if you don't have that and you have rice, this sauce goes perfect with that. Okay, so thank you for cooking with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video and hope that you learned something. Try it and leave a comment below and see how you like it. Thank you. Bye bye.